Hello, we're rolling into another episode of the TRH show. As usual, in each episode, I'll be talking to interesting people within psychology, mental health, and well-being. My brilliant guest for today is a philanthropist, an international speaker, and a life coach. She is the founder of Undecided Foundation, Dawn Witte. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on your show.
Okay, I hope I pronounce your surname properly, Dawn, and if I don't, I do apologize. It's Dawn Witte, yeah?
It is.
Okay.
That is absolutely perfect.
Okay, it's great to have you here, Dawn. Now, let's start off with you telling us your background, your trajectory in life, and how you ended up launching Desire to Inspire Foundation.
Oh gosh. Well, I was a stay-at-home mom for many, many years. I loved being a mom, and when my daughters were and while I was raising my daughters, I did a lot of volunteer work because I've always had a desire to help others. And that's just how I'm wired ever since I was a little girl. So when they were in college, I remember asking myself, well, what do I want to do now with my life? Because, they were adults and I didn't have to mommy them anymore. And so I started doing a lot of soul searching and learning and, getting my life coaching certification, things like that, like developing myself because, I wanted to take my next step in the world and live into my purpose. They were my purpose for so long, but, and it always stemmed from my love of children. Mm-hmm. So I started the Desire to Inspire Foundation because I know so many people doing so many wonderful things in the world, from animal rescue to helping people that are sick and having cancer treatments, helping unwed mothers, come from abusive situations. And these people put their heart and soul into this work. And I wanted to start to put a highlight on all these people doing wonderful things because the news shows us so many times, all of the negative things that are happening in the world. And I just kind of wanted to put a spotlight on the people doing wonderful things because there are a lot of them. So started the Desire to Inspire Foundation from that premise. Mm-hmm. And then I went to Africa and, it just changed my life. The mm-hmm. amount of love and joy and kindness these people have. Mm-hmm. I wanted to share that with the world and help them live into their highest potential. So mm-hmm. it is, ever since I started doing this work, the connections and resources have come my way that I would have never known even to ask for, so I know that I'm on my path.
Mm-hmm. And it's really lovely to talk to people in your line of work, philanthropists, and I'm trying to inspire people on, to live a better life. And earlier you just mentioned that you're so passionate about helping children. And is there a particular experience that led you into, such passion?
I think children and animals are the innocence. And I think they didn't ask to be here. And as adults, I think it's our responsibility to make sure they're okay. Whether it's your own children or somebody else's, a neighborhood child, or, I just have always had that very strong notion that, we need to protect the innocents. We need to, help lift them so that they can live into their highest dreams and make the earth a better place.
Mm-hmm. That's really a heartwarming message, especially you've said, these are very challenging times, and it's really inspiring to meet someone like you. Now, Dawn, aside from being a philanthropist, when I did my research on you, I also discovered that you've written a number of self-help books. So well, I'm just interested, what made you write your first book?
Well, I think everything has emanated from my love for my children. Mm-hmm. And I remember thinking, I had collected quotes that inspired me throughout my life for years. Mm-hmm. And I thought, when I'm gone from this earth, which someday will happen, there are certain things I just want to make sure my children understand, mm-hmm. So that they can live a happy life, but also a life full of love and compassion for others. Because I think it's so important to understand that. And so I wrote these quotes for them. Mm-hmm. And, I thought, you know what, I could put this in a book,
Mm,
because if I think that this is an important message for my own children, I think it's an important message for the world.
mhm,
So that's kind of how I, started down that path. And then again, I've met others that have joined me. On my co-editor, Deborah Louise Brown, has
mm,
been an inspiration to me. And just getting to collaborate with her and, inspire each other. It makes life so nice.
mhm,
Everything about my work is very inspired, except for like the taxes and stuff. That part I don't like.
yeah.
But it's really wonderful to be surrounded by people who, want to lift others.
Mhm, mhm. And especially during these times, we need more of that. I just want to focus more on the writing process of your book. What's the most surprising thing you've learned about yourself while writing your book? Because I've heard from authors. I'm a first-time author as well. There's something you discover during the writing process that actually I can write this, and you also learn a new way of thinking. Was that something that also you've experienced during writing your book?
I think one of the greatest things that have come out of writing my book for me is that I'm very careful about how I articulate things and how I write things,
Mhm,
because I understand that things can be misread certain ways, and I want to be concise and clear, and I want people to really understand the intention of my words. So I'm
mhm,
just, so cognizant
mhm,
about language and how we communicate with each other.
mhm, mhm, mhm. And of course, you mentioned earlier that this was originally not meant for the wider public. You intended to write this for your children. But now that your book is already out for everyone to read, what do you hope your readers will take away from your books?
I really hope that people come away feeling a little bit more positive about their own life and their
Mhm,
own abilities and their own, not responsibilities as much as importance of doing for others, and coming from a place deep within your soul of helping, servant leadership. Because I
mhm,
just did an interview the other day with this amazing man. His name's Mark Appleyard.
mhm,
And he said, oh my gosh, I'm going to ruin his quote, but he said something about, do as leaders, as business leaders, or as anyone, do we use people to build our dreams, or do we use our dreams to build people? And
that's
I just thought,
lovely.
oh yeah, I just got goosebumps again just repeating
Yeah.
it, because it's such a beautiful notion. And if we all came from that place
Mhm,
of wanting to build others, could you
mhm,
just imagine,
mhm.
the world that we live in?
That's a really lovely message. And of course, they say that you cannot really give something which you don't have. So because you're trying to inspire people, you should be inspired to begin with. So I'm just wondering, when and where do you feel most inspired, or when and where do you feel most creative?
Um, you know, any it come well, I get a lot of inspiration when I'm in the shower, which I think is kind of
Mhm,
funny. I don't know why that is, but when I'm in Africa, I feel like I'm at home. I
mhm,
feel like I'm my most beautiful self, because my heart is shining there.
mhm,
Um, being outside and, watching the birds. I love that.
mhm,
Watching the sky, all we can get inspiration from every single thing if
mhm,
we look all around us.
mhm,
I have 3 dogs. They inspire me, because they just love, this is pure, they radiate love. And so that I find that inspiring.
mhm,
My children inspire me. So I find inspiration everywhere.
mhm. And I suppose you're also a very creative person. Do you have any other, let's say, creative endeavors?
Some people call it creative, some people call it crazy.
Yeah.
um, I mean, I like doing a lot of things to make things more beautiful, like, designing, decorating rooms and
Mhm,
planting a garden and,
mhm,
planting flowers.
mhm,
So yeah, but I'm not really artistic. Like, I can't
mhm,
draw, I can't sing, I can't do all those
mhm,
kind of things. I think we all are given these gifts, and when we get to put those gifts out into the world, that's wonderful. But sometimes I think we judge ourselves because somebody else has this gift and we don't have anything comparable to that. Well,
mhm,
I know my gift is that I know how to love people. And, you know, I might not be athletic and I might not have all those other gifts, but I do have this gift. And so that's what I get to put into the world.
Mhm. And talking about give, you clearly have a gift of positive mindset. So could you just tell us what are some simple solutions for people to clear their head, especially, you know, we're in the middle of the lockdown, and how do we actually achieve a more positive mindset?
I think it's faith and believing
Mhm.
that, you know, I mean, I've studied a lot of different religions and philosophies and belief systems around the world because they've always fascinated me. And one of the things I studied was the Akashic records, part of Hinduism. And, you know, they believe that, you know, we sign a contract before we come to Earth, and we've agreed to every experience that we're going to experience on this planet.
Mhm.
And I, you know, I don't know if that's true or not true, but I always think, you know what, it's possible. And
Mhm.
so if it's possible, I always think, you know, I am here for a reason at this time, and I need to make the best of that. And
Mhm.
I can't control what happens externally. I can control how I respond to it.
Mhm.
And in, the helper part of me always comes in and says, well, how can I make this better? How can I make a difference? Again, I can't control, you know, the virus or any of that kind of stuff, but what I can do is offer my love and support to people, you know, and help them get through it when they're fearful or they're you know, worried, you know,
Mhm.
kind of send them my love and give them my perspective and just, you know, say, I have faith, I believe.
Mhm.
Because otherwise, you know, we're just going to worry ourselves to death.
Exactly. Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
really amazing, you know, that we've got this wonderful technology that, you know, we can connect to anyone in the world. Another thing that I've discovered to you, Dawn, and another thing that I wanted to talk to you about is you wrote on one of your articles that journaling, you know, writing about yourselves is really helpful for your well-being. Could you please explain this further to us?
Yeah, you know, I think journaling forces us to start asking ourselves some questions.
Hmm.
And I think that that's one of the ways we find out what is
Hmm.
important to us, what we value, what we love, you
Hmm.
know, because I think a lot of times, and I was very guilty of this for a long time, it's just, you know, we get up, we, you know, take a shower, we pack lunches or make our breakfast, or, you know, we do our things, we do the errands, we pay the bills, we go to work, and we're not reflecting and we're not going inside and we're not finding out, you know, what actually brings me joy, what actually am I here for, you know, all those kind of questions. And when you journal, it like connects, you know, a different part and helps hardwire in some of those things, and you get ideas and thoughts that will come to you that, you know, you might not have thought of had you not sat down and been quiet and gone within.
Exactly. And this is something that really resonates in me because, well, when I did my research project when I was at university, I did a research project about journaling. In psychology, this is what we would call expressive writing or writing therapy. And basically, what I found out in my research is, you know, those people who actually express themselves in writing, express about their frustrations, their ambitions and what they want out of life, they actually feel better about themselves. And I think it's such a simple, you know, therapy. And if a lot of people could actually discover how beneficial it is, it could actually,
Yeah.
you know, help them improve their psychological well-being. And as you've rightly pointed out, this is something that really, you know, that we could tap into, especially in these trying times, and not just in trying times, you know, but, you know, as adolescents, as young adults, we've got lots of struggles that we have to deal with. And so it's important to be reflective and to find out what your talents are. So it's really something, you know, that I really advocate for. Yeah, but just hearing how it has helped you journaling is really wonderful to learn about the benefits of journaling. Now, Dawn, could you talk us through some of the future projects that you are working on, the Decide to Inspire Foundation? And just for the benefit of those people who are listening to us, I understand this is predominantly focused on children in Africa. Am I right?
Yes, you know, I would love to touch children
Mhm.
everywhere.
Mhm.
We had written a book. So my first book is called Be. And then after that book came out, I was going to Africa, and we wrote the little book of Be, which was specifically for children. And it was about, being kind and grateful and, all of the things I write in the big book. But we've given away almost 2,500 copies, some to children in Missouri, and then a lot to the children in Africa. Just a reminder that they're loved, and so, I want to touch everybody's life in love. And so sometimes, it's not just the children we help, it's their caregivers or the people surrounding them, to build a business, we were creating these sustainability centers where we can teach people skills so they can put their talents to use in the world instead of having to ask for a handout, or be just given, some old clothes. Like, I think we all live into our highest potential when we're doing work that we love. So that is kind of what we do in all of our different areas. At first it was really just a matter of helping them meet their basic needs, because that's a struggle. But I want to do more than just that, because that just maintains the status quo. I want to build it up so that they get to do something. Because, when I wrote my first book, I was like, I did this. Like, I was so proud that I had created something. And to not allow somebody to have that same sense of accomplishment, I think, is not allowing them to live into their highest potential. So that's really the work that we try to do is, aside from getting the basic needs met, which of course are most important, is help lift people into their highest potential and ask them to do the same for others.
And when did you begin embarking in this journey of, the Psychreg Foundation? When did it start?
3 years ago. It was about 3 years ago. Yeah, my first trip to Africa. I went, I fell in love, with the people, with the land. And I just thought, I can't go back home knowing the struggles that they have and just like go back to my normal life, knowing that these children that I love, are struggling for water and struggling for food. So it became a very huge passion and motivating force in my life, because it's like, I know them, I love them, I can't know that they're suffering and be okay.
I could sense from the way you speak, Dawn, is that you are very goal oriented. So I'm just interested to find out how do you find time each day to achieve your individual goal?
I think it is knowing your why, knowing that it motivates me, because every step I take is helping me build something that will help them. So it's so important to me that not achieving it is just not an option. So, keeping that goal in mind and just knowing that every step is for the greater good, and it's another step getting me closer to, the goal, the things that I want to accomplish. So, I make time,
Yeah.
And sometimes, I'll wake up at 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, and I get answering emails, or, because it's so important to me and I love doing it. So it doesn't feel like work. It feels like a hobby, a calling, a passion, a purpose, everything combined into one. So that keeps me motivated and going.
I think that it's really important to highlight that if you know that what you're doing has a greater sense of purpose, it really keeps you going. Especially like what your the incredible work that you've been doing in Africa and in other places in the US. If you know that a lot of people rely on you, then you would be even motivated to do more. And
yeah.
But Dawn, was there ever something that happened in your life that you realized it was something really bad, but it turned out that something is great? I hope I phrased that right. But basically, what I'm saying is that you first thought it was a bad thing, but in the end, in the process, it turned out to be great.
I think that we can look at all of those circumstances that, it's just us being maybe redirected. I was married for almost 30 years and my marriage ended. And that was definitely, you know, a failure, and disappointing, and there was pain, you know, involving that. But, you know, it was for both of our growth, you know. So at at the time it hurt, but I just know that I've grown a lot, he's growing a lot, and we needed to do this, and our family is beautiful still, and there's still a lot of love there, you know. But I think we weren't happy for a long time, so this was the best thing. And even at the time it didn't seem like this is the best thing for everybody, even though I knew that this was like something that needed to happen. It could have been perceived as failure, but I think that for our growth we needed to do this. So, you know, that's one of those things. And I think we have to try to take something positive from every situation that happens. That doesn't mean that there aren't situations that are heartbreaking and tragic, you know, but like, what can we take from that? What can we learn from that? And what do we have to be grateful for guarding that? I remember when my dad passed away, it was very suddenly. It was the day after Father's Day. And excuse me, I remember sitting there packing for his funeral and thinking, oh my gosh, like I have to pack for my father's funeral. And I was very, very distraught. And this thought came into my head, a voice, and I was like, Dawn, you know, there are some children that don't ever have a father. And there are some children that lost their father when they're very young. And you got to have him, you know, into your adult life. So even during that sadness, I was still able to see like that I had a wonderful father. Like, how lucky was I? So I found some gratitude to come from that.
That is really incredible story. That,
Am I?
yeah. The experiences that you've gone through, shall we say, you know, the end of your romantic relationship, and of course the death of your father, and it turned out that you could still, you know, pick up some pieces and then, you know, turn it into something better. And I really admire you for your bravery, for your courage, and that is really, you know, something that could be a source of inspiration, especially for, you know, younger people. So I was just wondering, can you give us some advice on, you know, for young people, especially those who are just starting out and hoping to make it? What should they, you know, realize at this stage in their life?
You know, I think a good lesson is, you know, we all have that inner dialogue in our head, that voice inside of our head. I learned a lesson about how it speaks to me, you know, when you beat yourself up a lot, where you didn't do this good enough, or you didn't get this done, or, you know. And I just thought, if I wouldn't speak that way to my child, why would I speak that way to myself? You know. And so, you know, be kinder to ourselves, and also be kind to others, you know, because it comes back. Like, we are a mirror. And so what we put out into the world, it comes back to us. That doesn't mean we will not have experiences where somebody's unkind to us, but it means, you know, I love this story. When I was in Sierra Leone, this last time, we did a wharf cleanup, and it was on a day where the whole country shuts down, and legally everybody is supposed to be cleaning, you know, their areas, their communities. So they were supposed to be doing it anyway. But we came in and we gave them a little bit of money and some biscuits and the tools, and we did this whole wharf cleanup because it was just really, really in bad shape. And we'd run out of money. We'd run out of all the biscuits. All the stores were closed because, you know, everybody was supposed to be closed and cleaning. And this woman had come over to us and she just started yelling at us. Now, I had just gotten to Sierra Leone the night before. I was tired. I was dirty. I was thirsty. I was hungry. And, you know, she's yelling at us. And I had just given away everything that I had, right, to help her community. And she's yelling at me. And the whole time I had thinking, lady. And then I was like, no, I'm here because for love and kindness. That's why I'm here. And I need to respond in love and kindness. So I let her finish saying what she said. And I just got over, I hugged her and I said, I'm really sorry that we ran out. And then I walked away because I wasn't going to engage in like a long dialogue with that. But I just thought, you know, again, we have a choice every single day how we respond to everything. And what somebody else does not mean that you have to respond in a negative way back, you know. And that was such a powerful lesson to me, and I love sharing it because it really demonstrated to me like what's important to me and how I want to be in the world.
That is really a beautiful message, especially, you know, what you said, that you have to realize that choices, there are options in your life, and you just have to, you know, have the right support in order for you to, you know, come up with the right decision. And I think that's really encouraging, especially for young people listening to us. Just you know, hearing from your story, the way you know, the way you've recovered and the way you've survived, and how you are, you know, inspiring other people, especially those who are marginalized and disadvantaged. Dawn, do you have any future plans for your foundation, and also is there any other book coming up?
Yeah, we just launched a podcast April 1st, and we're going to be turning that into a 10x inspired leadership book. And we're interviewing leaders from around the world and talking about these type of things, about the power of being loving and kind and inspired leadership, instead of, you know, being top down and do this because this is your job and, you know, that's what your responsibility is, you know, lifting people up and letting them see their greatness. Because when somebody gives you that sense of appreciation and support, you're going to want to do better. And, you know, so we're putting that together in a book. And then we're also, oh my gosh, we're working on so many things. I've been working on a skincare line using these amazing ingredients in Africa. The purpose of it is to raise funds to do the work, because I really want to get away from the donation model. You know, I want to be able to fund the projects that I want to do, but I don't want to say, you know, could you just donate? I want you to maybe buy an amazing product, so proceeds will go to fund the work, and then you get an amazing product. You know, it's kind of like a win-win for everybody. So we're working on the skincare line, working on a couple more books, working on that podcast. You know, just a lot of things.
And you're obviously busy. You've got lots of people interviewing you, and I'm really so grateful that you gave me the chance to interview you. I know you have really a busy schedule. Dawn, this question, I always ask this to my guests. What's one thing about mental health and well-being that you think we should be talking more about?
You know, I think just how powerful our minds are. You know, I mean, we have so much power within ourselves, and tapping into that power, I think, is something that I would love to hear more about. You know, I did go to school for psychology. That was something has always been very interesting to me, you know, how the mind works, why people do the things they do. You know, it's always fascinated me. The reason I didn't continue that formal education, because it just, you know, labeling somebody with a disorder, you know, it didn't feel right in my soul. And that's when I found life coaching. It felt much more in alignment with who I am and how I view the world. So, you know, again, the notion that we are very powerful, and once we tap into that, you know, a lot of the things that are happening, we'll understand that we're not victims of our circumstance, that we do have more power than we know in any given situation, including, you know, what is happening in the world right now. You know, it's how we look at it, how we can connect with people, how we can be of service to others, and in so doing, then we're at service to ourselves.
I definitely agree. That's really something that we should be talking about, you know, harnessing a positivity, harnessing ability to be resilient and to bounce back from things that we experience, and eventually, you know, do something inspiring, and just like what you've said, you know, being able to help other people. Now, Dawn, we already reached the final question. It's been lovely talking to you, but where can we learn more about you and your wonderful work?
Our website is desiredtoinspirefoundation.org. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram. And then you know, you can reach out on the website. You can connect with us there. You can see some pictures of our beautiful children. You know, those aren't stock photos. All the pictures on our website are our kids, you know, that I've hugged and loved. You can see some of the work that we're doing. My books are on the site. And, you know, I would just love for people just to, again, share. We want to share these stories of these beautiful children and people we know who have overcome so many struggles and challenges in their life, but yet they still continue to succeed. And, you know, while this is all happening, you know, I'm in touch with many of the people that I know in Africa still, checking in on them. But, you know, I find it very touching that they're checking in on me, you know, and when they're struggling for food right now, because the situation there is really, really hard, it's made an already difficult situation even harder. They're praying for me and they're concerned about me. And I mean, that is the beauty of Africa. And that also goes to show me that no matter what situation you're in, you can always still give some of your heart to someone else.
That's really lovely. Well, Dawn, it's been an insightful conversation with you. Thank you for sharing your time and your incredible story. I look forward to hearing more about your amazing work in Africa and in the US, and of course your upcoming book and your skincare products. All the best, Dawn. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure.